Hello friend, welcome to Session-15. Today you will be learn TCP programming on sockets. So you learn how to socket on TCP protocols. So we start with TCP socket programming. For that we need to use net libraries. It's very useful to connecting the client and servers. Like if you going to create any applications, there we need to streamings, maybe game there need to stream the data. Also some different applications where video streamings on the times you also need to this one's socket programming using a node okay. Now we just now we go through this one libraries and we see lots of the properties, functions and method of the net modules. It's very useful to create a socket programming. And before that ones we just create some small applications. It will be communicate between the client server using the TCP protocols. So I create a simple 2GS, one is a server and one is a client. And TCP on the TCP protocols where we need to communicate through this one's socket. So we need two files, one side client side, one server sides. So first start with server sides. For that we need to import the library net libraries. And for that this one's net and this one's net server object create a afterwards we need to create a servers and using the functions create servers, and there we pass the callback functions. And here this one's callback functions, there we defines the proper this one's callback functions, and we create a we just create a instance of servers on create servers using the different properties. So it will be handled the client's this client request on the sockets, and at the ends we just create listenings the server on protocols 999 4 times 9s, and this one handlers. There we just writes server info means server dot server address means is local address, and we just stringify in JSONs. Okay, JSON stringify this informations and just print in this consoles TCP server listen on address and server informations of the local server informations where the server is going to run. And if server connections this one servers close, maybe in some interrupt or some errors, so this one's event fire, and we handle this one's event, this one's callback functions, this one handlers, and they print TCP socket servers is closed. And if errors between these process on the times, we just print the errors to string JSONs. And on consoles this one's functions start the servers to listening on 4 times 9 protocol port, and this for the server side codes it's listen to client and also reply to client, and is this one's net dot create servers is this one's handle all these channels is sending by the client, and we also send a message on particular events to the clients. So how to handle the request and how to send a reply to the client request on the particular channels so which when create a servers on net means the socket in socket programming, when create servers when any client come to connect with this socket, this one's socket servers on the times we just fetch all the details like a client local ports, means like client local ports, and client local remote address. Okay, client address, client local port, client remote address, and client remote port. Afterwards, we just mention things. This one things is unique for each client. So when you need to difference between the client, okay, is very easy to identify using the remote address and remote port, because remote if you connect more than one client from the same computers, means the remote address is same local host, but the remote port is different because every time assign through new ports, means you differentiate between the ports. It means it's very easy to identify, and you can easy to emit the any message to particular users. Now we also set encoding types for the data sendings and receivings. We mentions UTF-8. We also say it's a default UTF-8, and we also set we use and introduce more than one functions. One of the functions set timeouts, maybe just 5 seconds, and if you call the set timeouts after 5 seconds, means these ones create event after 5 seconds, and the event time is a timeouts. Is a new feature of the Session socket of the Node libraries, and we just handle these events and just print a message on the consoles like client request timeout. Now any client connect and it going to send data with a channel name is a data. If any client send any data to the server and the channel name has data, means these ones handlers handle this one channel, and where we just receive the data and we just print in consoles whatever data received by the client, and we also mention bytes to reads, means the totals size of the bytes. Now we also send data back to clients using a .NET sockets, like we just client.write, okay, to send a data, okay, is revert back to clients with size. If you want end the connections, if any connection connect with the server and immediately want to close, means we just put client.end, means connections connect, and when we send the data with the channels, we also can disconnect through this one functions. Client.end means the client automatically disconnect after using these functions, and we also send back to data to client. This one handle the channels of the data. Now any connections lost, maybe some interrupt connections or some intentionally close the connections, on the times this event fire with AND channels, and we handle the event using this one handlers, and there we print client disconnected in consoles, and we also count the number of the connections with servers. Now if you guess something, maybe you guess like the 10 connections to the server and 1 connections lost, means remaining how many connections now connections available to the servers. So we need to fetch how many connections live connections available using the get connections methods. It returns maybe errors, otherwise return the count number of the connections connect with the servers. Here print with a count, otherwise print the errors. So it's when the any client disconnect, then we just call this one call with these functions to return the number of the connections live with servers. Now same things we need to programmings in client side, but their libraries may be different. Here create server for the servers. Okay, here just create connections. Now in client side we need to connect to the server, so we use net dot create a connections. Okay, and here for on server sides create servers. Both is different. Means the major difference is like a create servers, here create a connections. Now we just go through this is first lines. First we need to import the modules, net modules, and afterward just we create a functions. It's handle the TCP client. Okay, means is create a connections with the server, and also emit the some event with the data, and also handle the event. Means if server sending any data, means you also need to handle on the client sides. And we need event handle in both sides, server side and client sides. Maybe client send data, means server side need to listen on the same channels, and same thing happen in the server sending any data, we need to listen on the client sides. Means both way need to communicate. Now you seen this one scenario. Here we receive the receive the client data, and we also send a message to the clients. So we need to handle the request on the server sides. So we go to server sides and client sides. We just create one functions, name is get connections, and we just pass the parameters of connection terms, and we define one options. They are defined two properties, key values. Host is a local host and port is a 900, because we need to connect with the local host, and server port is a 900. So we need to define the host and port with this options options parameters. Now we create a connections using the create connections, pass the options, this one parameter is theirs, and functions, this one return back to the this one functions. And if successfully created function, this one's connections, this one's like a print, this one's connection names which can pass to parameters. We also print the local address and local port, and remote address and remote ports. See, we see in run times what a local address and what a remote address, what the difference between the local and remote address on the run times. So we just create one TCP client using the TCP connections, create connections. Now we same things here set using the same timeout after 10 seconds, and we also defines some encoding times, encoding type UTF-8. Now we receives data from servers. On the channel name is data. If servers sending data, so we receive this function receive, and this one function, this one handlers handle the request and print the in consoles. Now if client connection close, means this event fire, and we handle this one's event using these handlers, and print in consoles client socket is connected. Same thing happen when this one's timeout request executes, means this one's event fire, and we handle same things, this one handlers, and between the executions some error found, or it's it occurs some other reasons, and fire errors. On the time we also handle this request for the error channels, and this will handling the errors, and at the end we returns this one's client object to these functions. So we create we just create objects of the functions using these ones, like we just call the functions and create a object of this one client socket using this one function, and this name is a client Java client, and second is a Node client. We just create two socket object, one is a Java object and Node clients, and we just try to send a message to servers like this message, and using this Node client object to send a message like on servers using write methods to server. Now we execute this one program, and we can see first execute the servers, okay, and this listens on the 900,000 ports, and in sprint TCP server listen on the address, and at the between the process clients and data, this one's functions handle the client request, same things this one functions handle the server request, and also connect to the servers, and also emit to message to the servers. So run these programs in different consoles, and we just see what happens when execute these programs. Now I just now it assumes we have two clients and one server. Now first need to start a servers, so I just node and server.js. I start a servers, and it says TCP server listen on port address is a family IP6 and port number 900. I just using the localhost, means is a like this one for IP6 port IP6. Now I connect to through two clients, okay, and just differentiate between the what the address and what is the port, means you easy to differentiate between the different clients, and you just handle the request as per the client. We want to send a different message to different clients, is also possible. We want to group this one connect client, also possible. So now I just start a client script here using a now I create a client using a client.js. You can see here. Now connection name is nodes. I just mentions here in client sides. What's the client sides? Get connections.java, okay, and this one functions call on this sides, and when this options print, this one say connection names is a connection. What is connection name is it? First is Java, and this one's nodes. So we just see here. First is connections remote. Yes, connection name is Java. Okay, done it. Then connections local address. This one's localhost total 127.0.01. And what is the port? What is a port? Is a 50171. Got it? And remote site. What is the remote site? Is address and ports. Means IP address is a localhost and port is a number 9, 4 times 9s. And same thing, we just try to connect with the nodes. Then it's have like a different port numbers 172. First local address and local port is a 5017, and second times create an instance the different port numbers, means easy to identify the different connections, and easy to handle the each request. Now this one local, this one remote address, and servers return data, because when we just send the data in Java, this one to server sides, means server handle the request data, and is the print server receive data is return back to the client. Okay, this one's, so here server return data, this one's, okay, server receive data. Java is best programming language, send back to the client. This one's message here, means this one message return back to the client. Same thing happens in second instance of the nodes, means is this one message also sent back from the server to client. And at the end we just seen here the client timeout after 5,000 seconds. Okay, see here client connection timeout is first object of the Java. Okay, and second objects also have a timeouts. Okay, and after 10 seconds means this one's event fire timeout, and this one's event handle through the timeout handlers. Now we see also we also look up the server. Now we need to look up on both server sides. Yes, what server side is theirs. Now we can see server sides. This one TCP server listens this one address. Now client, when first client connect to the server, okay, on the times the address is different port, and second customer, the second client have a different address and different port, okay, and we received data from the client and we revert back to the clients, and we received two messages from the client sides, one for the Java from the node objects, and we also send things timeout request after the 5 seconds and executed here and is print in consoles. Now when we try to connect another like clients, so what happens here? See here, same things, but here you can see our port is different. First is 5017, 50171, 50172, and we create different client, means it's have different ports, 501177 and 50178, means is easy to differences between the each request of the TCP protocols. Now we're going to in depth with the libraries. There are lots of the functionalities, methods, and properties available. We import the net modules using this one using required functions, and see, you can see here now we have IPC connections through this one functions like .node connect or create connections. We using these ones already use these functions, and we also listen the servers events and socket connect. This one IPC a method is available to connect the servers. .NET servers class have a different way to connect the servers using the different methods, but this and they have options plus connect listeners functions. Optional is a optionals, and maybe is a object, and connection listener is a functions is and it's returned back to net.server objects. And when going to server means when client connect to server, and they have different properties there. Close, event is a close, connections, errors, listenings, and we also seen this one properties to fetch the address of the remote or local local addresses. They have like different properties there, port, families, and address. We fetch the information from the request, and these ones we also, when these ones functions use to the callback when server is going to closed. Now these ones are multiple functions theirs. This get connections, okay, this is a method to get the number of the connections live with the servers, and this one's functions listen to the server when server are ready to listen to a request on the times. This one's this one functions going to execute, and you write a handlers on this event of the listens. Now these handlers or properties theirs like this server.listens, host, port, and we already seen these methods and used already in the past examples. Now we just go through these ones, class.net sockets, and create a new socket objects using the new socket with options. There are 4 properties there, like FT allow half opens, readables, writables. Is useful when you're going to create a socket on different options, and they have also same properties like close, connect, data, and like this one properties the loop lookup, read, timeout, address, buffer size. We're just going to below that now. Now start from here, socket.connect. Socket.connect is the same as like a connect to means the socket what connect servers. This one have property, they have different properties, maybe options or connect listeners. Options means we just go through this one, have properties, port number is there, host number is there, local address, local port, family, range and lookups. I like these properties. This one return back to the net sockets. Now we also connect to servers using these methods, connect listeners, and we also using the path. If you have like some path, it's a file path. You also using this one methods. Now we want to connect particular any socket on the port and host using these methods. Connect, we pass the port and host and connect listeners. You can see here we just pass this one's host and port. This is options, first request to host, second request to ports and create connections like this one port to connect the servers. And when we're going to connecting the servers, this function is going to execute. When any socket destroy the connections, we accept some for the exceptions. This one's method execute, and we're just going to handle this one functions. If any socket destroy, then also this one we also handle the request to these functions. And where any sockets and with, and then we also handling that handling this request. So these functions. Now we fetch different properties, like different lots of properties there. If we need to fetch local address, using the local address of the sockets, we seen here this one's local address is returned back to the local address of the socket which allocate for connections, net connections. Same things local ports. And now we just demanding methods. I'm not going to explain every methods, but we just reference to some couple of methods which ones we just referred in our past examples, so we can easy to identify how what are different properties and how can you use it. When we want to fetch a remote address means when you connect this one's means when going to remote is remote address is localhost. When you're going to connect with the create connections, and what is remote port is this, which ones, this one remote address, which ones of the server port. And this is remote family is maybe IP6 or IP4, so it is easy to identify is IP4 connections, so IP6 connections. Now you also set encoding types, okay, using maybe is strings, is UTF-8, some other encoding type is there. We set here the set encoding types UTF-8, and this one set timeouts. These timeouts with callback functions. We also use these functions in our past examples, like using the set timeout, and we handle this request through the timeout handlers. And we want to write any data to the or also otherwise you send to data to server using these methods. There you just try a sending message, so it may be strings or buffer or unit data array. And encoding types, these are maybe UTF-8 or base64, but default is a UTF-8. And callback functions is functions, and it's returned back to booleans. And what is returned back is this, maybe true or false. And this one same things, this net.connects this and have the same options connect listeners. This one's create connections for the client sides to create connections. We also reference here this one functions, and lots of properties at below which ones we used in our examples. So if you have more queries or if you want to more in more depth, so you just go through some libraries and you go lots of options, maybe optionals, and you want to use within the if you want to some optional parameters, you go through the library. Is very useful for you. uh, Now you learn how to create a servers on the client sides, how to create a client, and how to you also learn how to connect to servers, how to handle the request from the client sides and also the server sides, and also sending message each other from the client side, maybe is the server sides. uh, I hope you enjoy this TCP socket programmings. uh, thank you for all who's watching this one current session, this one current session 15 of the Node.js. Thank you.